Ambassador Kate Reynolds felt her stomach drop as the transport shuttle docked with Kepler 7 station. 3 years of preparation had led to this moment. Humanity's first real chance to join the Galactic Council. No pressure at all. "Remember, people," she said to her team as the airlock hissed open, "we represent all of Earth today. Let's try not to mess this up." Tom Harrison, their xenobiologist, adjusted his camera equipment nervously. How bad can it be? It's just a standard safety test, right? Dave Mitchell, their cultural expert, was already sweating. Define standard. These aliens have been spacefaring for thousands of years. They probably think we're cave people with rockets. The docking bay was massive, easily the size of 3 football fields. Alien species Kate had only seen in briefing videos moved about their business. Tall, graceful beings that looked like walking crystals. Squat creatures covered in what looked like armor plating, and dozens of others she couldn't even begin to describe. Their guide approached them with a clicking sound that the translation device converted to speech. It looked like a giant praying mantis wearing a uniform, standing nearly 7 feet tall on spindly legs. "Welcome, humans," it chittered. "I am Guide Chikvar. Please follow for your mandatory xenobiological assessment." As they walked through the station's corridors, Kate noticed how other aliens moved out of their way. Some stared openly, others whispered among themselves. A few actually backed into side passages to avoid them entirely. "Are we really that scary?" whispered Ben Cooper, their security officer. "Or that weird?" added Lisa Stone, their engineer. Guide Chikvar led them through several security checkpoints, each more elaborate than the last. Energy scanners swept over them. Force fields activated and deactivated, and multiple layers of blast doors sealed behind them. "This seems like a lot of security for a simple test," Tom observed. "The assessment chamber houses specimens from across the galaxy," Chikvar explained. "Quantum barriers contain the most dangerous predators known to galactic civilization. Your species must demonstrate proper threat recognition before joining Council activities." They entered a vast circular chamber with a domed ceiling that stretched up at least 50 feet. Around the walls, dozens of glowing barriers contained what Kate could only describe as nightmares. Things with too many teeth, creatures covered in spikes, beasts that seemed to be made of living shadow. But it was the observation deck that really caught her attention. Representatives from at least 20 different alien species sat in stadium-style seating, all watching intently. Some had multiple eyes, others had no visible eyes at all. A few were taking notes on devices she couldn't identify. "Great," Dave muttered. "An audience." Chikvar gestured toward the first enclosure. "Please observe the Andromedan spine ripper. Note your physiological responses for evaluation." Kate stepped forward and immediately stopped breathing. The creature was absolutely massive. Easily 9 feet tall if it stood upright, covered in what looked like black fur that shimmered with an oily iridescence. Its claws were transparent like crystal but clearly razor-sharp, and they dripped with something that hissed when it hit the floor. The thing had 6 legs, each ending in those terrible claws, and a head that was all teeth and glowing red eyes. Most terrifying of all were the small, fuzzy tufts on top of what might have been ears. In the observation deck, alien beings leaned forward expectantly. This was always the moment. Some species screamed, others fainted. A few tried to run. The spine ripper had that effect on everyone. Everyone except humans, apparently. "Oh my God," Kate breathed, pressing her face against the quantum barrier. "Tom, look at this absolute unit." The creature tilted its massive head, those glowing eyes focusing on her with what looked almost like curiosity. "Look at those little fuzzy ear tufts." Kate continued, her voice rising with excitement. "It's like someone crossed a giant teddy bear with a tiger. And look how it's moving. It's almost playful." Tom was already snapping photos with his camera. "Kate, I swear it's responding to your voice. Look, it's doing that head tilt thing my dog does when I talk to him." The spine ripper did indeed seem to be tilting its head back and forth, following Kate's movements along the barrier. When she moved left, it moved left. When she crouched down, it lowered itself to her level. "I think it likes you," Ben said with a grin. In the observation deck, complete silence reigned. 20 different alien species sat frozen in disbelief. Several had dropped their note-taking devices. Others were rapidly consulting medical scanners, convinced the humans must be suffering from some kind of neurological damage. Guide Chikvar's mandibles clicked frantically, the equivalent of nervous stammering. The day humanity broke every rule of galactic psychology had officially begun. Part 5, New Order. 6 months later, Ambassador Kate signed humanity's official welcome into the Galactic Council. Her service dog, Max, a German shepherd who would have been classified as a mid-tier predator, sat beside her, tail wagging at the assembled dignitaries. The Apex Predator Conservation Program has exceeded all expectations, she announced. Former death worlds are now peaceful nature preserves under human management. Tom had been appointed the first director of interspecies wildlife relations. Dave ran a successful YouTube channel called Adorable Galaxy Death Beasts. Emma managed the first-ever nightmare mantis petting zoo. As for Jack, he now ran a sanctuary for misunderstood galactic predators, where razorback slugs learned tricks and void stranglers played fetch. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous thing about a predator is how much humans want to give it belly rubs. Epilogue. A space trucker's log reported passing a human colony ship with bumper stickers reading, "Baby Void Kraken on board," and my nightmare mantis is an honor student. The galaxy was still adjusting. The end. Dr. Clicktar adjusted his research goggles for the 100th time that day, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he tried to process what he was witnessing. In his 2 centuries of studying xenopsychology across 17 different star systems, he had seen every possible fear response, survival instinct, and threat assessment protocol known to galactic science. He had written 12 textbooks on the subject, been awarded the Golden Spiral for excellence in interspecies behavioral research, and was considered the galaxy's leading expert on how different species reacted to danger. None of that mattered now. Everything he thought he knew was being rewritten by 5 humans who seemed determined to cuddle the universe's most dangerous predators. "This is impossible," he muttered to his research assistant. "A nervous creature that looked like a walking plant. According to every psychological model we have, these reactions should not exist. Fear of apex predators is the most basic survival instinct in the known universe." His assistant's leaves rustled anxiously. Perhaps their species has a neurological defect, some kind of brain damage that prevents proper threat recognition. Dr. Clicktar had already run those tests 3 times. The humans were perfectly healthy, with brain activity that showed they were not only aware of the danger, but actually becoming more relaxed and happy when exposed to it. It was like watching someone get excited about being struck by lightning. Tom Harrison, the human xenobiologist, was currently explaining something to a group of fascinated alien researchers who had gathered around him. Dr. Clicktar moved closer to listen, his recording device capturing every word. "You see," Tom was saying, holding up images on his portable device, "humans evolved what we call cute aggression. We have this overwhelming urge to care for anything with certain physical features, big eyes, soft textures, playful behavior, even certain proportions that remind us of our own babies. But these creatures are lethal." Dr. Clicktar protested, pointing toward the nearest containment unit, where a spine ripper was currently rolling on its back like an enormous, deadly puppy. "They have killed thousands of beings across multiple star systems." Dave Mitchell, the cultural expert, shrugged casually. "So do our cats. We still love them. Back on Earth, domestic cats kill billions of small animals every year, but we think they're adorable. We even make videos of them knocking things off tables and call it entertainment." "Your cats are killers?" asked a shocked crystalline delegate. "Oh, yeah," Lisa chimed in cheerfully. "My cat once brought me 3 dead mice in one day. I gave him treats and told him he was a good boy. That's just what cats do." Dr. Clicktar felt his world spinning. "You reward predatory behavior in your companion animals?" "Well, when you put it like that, it sounds weird," Tom admitted. "But look at it this way. We evolved alongside predators. Our ancestors survived by learning to work with dangerous animals, not just fear them. Dogs were wolves once. Horses could kick your head off. Even our cows can weigh over 1,000 pounds and have killed people, but we still milk them and turn them into hamburgers. While Dr. Clicktar struggled to process this information, an alarm started blaring from the maintenance section. Security teams rushed toward the source of the disturbance, expecting to find a containment breach or system failure. Instead, they found Jack Williams, a human maintenance worker who had somehow gotten into the facility, sitting cross-legged on the floor next to what appeared to be a razorback slug. The razorback slug was one of the newer additions to their collection, a creature for the outer rim that looked like a 2-meter-long snail covered in razor-sharp spines. Its slime was highly corrosive, and it could launch its spines like projectiles when threatened. Most species wouldn't go within 50 meters of one. Jack was sharing his sandwich with it. "Jack!" Lisa called out as the security team surrounded them. "You're not supposed to feed the murder slug. But look how happy Buddy is." Jack replied, breaking off another piece of his sandwich. The creature, apparently named Buddy now, was making a low humming sound that the translation systems couldn't process. He was just hungry. Poor guy probably hasn't had a decent meal in weeks. "Sir," the security chief rumbled nervously, "should we stun the human and extract him?" "Don't you dare," Jack said firmly. "You'll scare Buddy. Look, he's finally starting to trust people." He gently scratched the area behind what might have been the slug's head. The creature's humming grew louder and more content. Dr. Clicktar watched in fascination as his instruments detected something unprecedented. The razorback slug's stress hormones were dropping to levels they had never recorded. The creature was actually relaxed, possibly even happy. "This changes everything," he whispered. "If humans can calm apex predators instead of triggering their hunt responses, if they can form bonds with creatures that should see them as either threats or prey." His assistant's leaves turned a worried shade of yellow. "What does this mean for galactic security protocols?" Dr. Clicktar looked around at the humans, who were now teaching other research staff about something called baby talk and explaining why high-pitched voices made dangerous animals more adorable. "I think," he said slowly, "it means we need to rewrite every textbook we've ever published about interspecies relations, and possibly evacuate several quarantine planets." The day was far from over, and Dr. Clicktar was beginning to suspect that humanity was about to turn the galaxy's understanding of fear, friendship, and survival completely upside down. The first video hit the galactic internet exactly 4 hours and 23 minutes after Tom started his live stream. He had meant it as a simple documentation project for Earth's xenobiology department, maybe something to show his colleagues back home. Instead, he accidentally broke the galaxy. Day 1 of humanity's first contact assessment. Tom said cheerfully into his camera, completely unaware that his signal was being picked up by communication arrays across 17 star systems. "We're here at Kepler 7 station, and guys, you are not going to believe what we're seeing." He turned the camera toward Kate, who was pressed against the Spine Ripper's containment barrier, making what could only be described as baby talk. "Look at this good boy." "Yes, you are. You're such a good boy with your big, scary claws." The Spine Ripper was responding by rolling over and showing its belly, a behavior that had never been documented in the species' entire recorded history. Within an hour, the video had been shared across the Andromedan network. Within 3 hours, it was trending on galactic TikTok equivalent platforms with hashtags like "humans are insane" and "apex predator pets." By the end of the day, it had been viewed over 2 billion times across 1,000 different worlds. The comment sections were chaos. Species that had lived in terror of these creatures for millennia watched humans treat them like oversized puppies. The Crystalline Collective posted urgent scientific papers trying to explain the phenomenon. The Warrior cast demanded emergency military briefings. 3 different planets actually went into lockdown because their populations thought the videos were some kind of psychological warfare. But the real paradigm shift happened in the deepest section of Kepler 7 station, where they kept the Dread Stalker. Dr. Clicktar had specifically saved this encounter for last because he was convinced it would finally trigger a normal fear response in the humans. The Dread Stalker was evolution's perfect nightmare, a creature that had developed the ability to sense fear across multiple dimensions and use it as a hunting mechanism. It didn't just smell fear or see it. It could taste the terror of its prey through quantum fields that scientists still didn't fully understand. Every species in the galaxy knew about Dread Stalkers, They were the reason entire star systems had been abandoned. They were the monsters that warrior cultures used to test their bravest soldiers. Looking at one without feeling fear was considered literally impossible. The creature's presence triggered involuntary terror responses in every known form of intelligent life. Kate walked right up to its containment barrier, without hesitation. The Dread Stalker, a creature that looked like someone had crossed a panther with a shadow and given it too many teeth, was crouched in the center of its enclosure. Its multiple eyes were scanning the area, searching for familiar tastes of fear that always announced potential prey. It found nothing. "Oh, wow," Kate breathed, studying the creature with genuine fascination. "Look at how it moves. It's like liquid darkness. And those eyes. Tom, are you getting this? The way it's looking at us isn't predatory at all. It's curious." The stalker tilted its head, clearly confused. Its entire hunting mechanism was based on fear detection, but these strange new creatures weren't producing any fear signals whatsoever. In fact, they seemed to be emitting something that is evolutionary programming recognized as pleasure, excitement. The creature had no framework for understanding prey that enjoyed looking at predators. Commander Zephix of the Altarian warrior caste watched from the observation deck, his entire worldview crumbling in real time. His species had spent 10,000 years building their military culture around the concept of conquering fear, of facing the galaxy's apex predators with courage and strength. Their greatest warriors earned their ranks by surviving encounters with creatures like the Dread Stalker. But these humans weren't conquering their fear. They simply didn't have any to conquer. "This changes everything," he whispered to his aide, his voice barely audible. "If these creatures aren't apex predators to humans, if there's actually a species that can look at a Dread Stalker and see something cute, then our entire understanding of the galactic hierarchy is wrong." Kate was now actively trying to convince the security staff to let her into the enclosure. "Come on, just for a minute. Look at him. He's practically purring. That rumbling sound is definitely a happy noise, right? I bet he just needs some head scratches." "Ma'am," Security Chief Vordak said, his voice strained, "that is not purring. That is a sound a Dread Stalker makes when it's trying to process sensory information that doesn't fit its hunting protocols." "See? He's confused because nobody ever showed him affection before. Poor baby probably just wants some friends." Across the galaxy, emergency sessions were being called in every major government. The warrior casts of 12 different species were having existential breakdowns. Military academies were suspending classes, while their instructors tried to figure out how to teach courage to species that might never be as naturally fearless as humans appear to be. The footage kept spreading, and with each view, each share, each incredulous comment, the galaxy's understanding of fear, power, and what it meant to be apex predators shifted a little more. By the time Kate finally convinced someone to let her pet the Dread Stalker, 3 different galactic civilizations had already begun rewriting their military doctrines. 6 months later, the Galaxy Council chamber looked very different than it had during humanity's first terrifying assessment. For starters, there was now a designated emotional support animals section where various creatures that had once been classified as weapons of mass destruction sat peacefully beside their human companions. Ambassador Kate Reynolds straightened her formal diplomatic jacket as she prepared to sign the official treaty welcoming humanity into the Galactic Council. Beside her, Max, her German Shepherd service dog, wagged his tail enthusiastically at the assembled alien dignitaries. Most of them had finally stopped flinching when he moved, though a few still kept their distance from what their databases classified as a mid-tier pack predator with enhanced bite force capabilities. "It's funny," Kate murmured to Tom, who was seated in the human delegation section. 6 months ago, half these species thought we were psychologically damaged. Now, they're asking us to help them with their own predator problems." The ceremonial chamber held representatives from over 200 different worlds, and Kate could see the changes humanity had brought to galactic society everywhere she looked. The crystalline delegate from Andromeda was wearing what appeared to be a small pin with a cute cartoon version of a spine ripper on it. 3 seats over, a warrior from the reptilian consortium was actually taking notes on something called Understanding Your Inner Predator, a human perspective. When Kate stood to address the assembly, the translation systems carried her voice to every corner of the galaxy. The Apex Predator Conservation Program has exceeded all expectations, she announced, her voice steady with quiet pride. Former death worlds that have been quarantined for centuries are now peaceful nature preserves under human management. Species that were considered extinct due to predator overpopulation are now thriving alongside their former hunters. In the audience, Dr. Klicktar nodded approvingly. His latest research paper, Reconsidering Fear-Based Hierarchies, a post-human perspective on interspecies relations, had become the most downloaded scientific document in galactic history. Universities across 17 star systems were now offering courses in human-style wildlife management and applied cute theory. Tom Harrison had been appointed as the galaxy's first director of interspecies wildlife relations, a position that didn't exist 6 months ago because nobody had ever imagined it might be needed. His office was located on a space station orbiting the former death world of Kepler 9, where nightmare mantises now played something resembling fetch with human researchers. The secret isn't fearlessness, Tom had explained in his inaugural address. It's recognizing that fear often blinds us to other possibilities. When you stop seeing a creature as just a threat, you start seeing its intelligence, its social needs, its capacity for connection. Dave Mitchell had taken a completely different approach to the new reality. His GalacTube channel, Adorable Galaxy Death Beasts, had over 50 million subscribers across multiple species. His most popular video, Teaching a Void Strangler to Play Peek-Boo, had been viewed so many times that it crashed 3 different planetary internet systems. The trick, Dave explained in his latest upload while a massive plasma bear rolled over for belly rubs in the background, is understanding that most aggressive behavior comes from fear or misunderstanding. This big guy isn't trying to melt my face off. He's just excited to see me. The comment section of his videos had become an unexpected forum for interspecies cultural exchange. Species that had been at war for centuries were now bonding over shared experiences of watching humans do impossibly dangerous things with obvious joy. Lisa Stone had perhaps made the most radical change of all. Her Nightmare Mantis Petting Zoo on the former military outpost of Sigma 7 was booked solid for the next 3 years. Families from across the galaxy came to watch their children giggle, while 12-foot-tall killing machines gently accepted head scratches and learned to respond to their names. The key is respecting them as individuals, Lisa explained to a group of visiting researchers while a nightmare mantis named Frederick carefully accepted a treat from a nervous crystalline child. Frederick here loves having his antenna rubbed, but Margaret over there prefers chin scratches. They're not just killing machines, they're people in their own way. But it was Jack Williams who had perhaps achieved the most impossible thing of all. His sanctuary for misunderstood galactic predators had become a pilgrimage site for species trying to overcome generations of evolutionary fear. Visitors came from across the galaxy to watch razorback slugs perform tricks, see void stranglers play fetch, and witness former apex predators living in peaceful coexistence with their former prey species. "Buddy here," Jack said, scratching behind the sensory organs of a razorback slug the size of a small car. He's learned 17 different commands. He can sit, stay, roll over, and his favorite trick is playing dead, though that one kind of freaks out the visitors. The transformation wasn't just practical, it was philosophical. Warrior cultures that had spent millennia defining themselves through conflict with dangerous predators were now grappling with the possibility that strength might come from connection rather than conquest. As Kate signed the final treaty document, officially making humanity the Galaxy Council's 847th member species, she looked out at the assembled delegates and smiled. The galaxy had learned an important lesson, she said in her closing remarks. Sometimes the most dangerous thing about a predator isn't its claws or teeth or venom. It's how much humans want to give it belly rubs and tell it what a good boy it is. 3 months later, a space trucker named Rodriguez filed a routine cargo manifest that made galactic headlines. He reported passing a human colony ship sporting bumper stickers that read, "Baby Void Kraken on board. My nightmare mantis is an honor student. And caution, student driver learning to pilot around sleeping Dreadstalker." The galaxy was still adjusting to humanity's approach to dangerous wildlife. But one thing was clear. The universe had become a much more interesting place.